Don't blink. It's your blink. Welcome to the Cup Show. If you're doing well, having a wonderful day on this. Can I get a drum roll, please? 9th April 2025. Yes. There's a beautiful sun behind me and a beautiful land of snow. Who would have thought in April we would get snow? Today's video is actually a special one. We're talking about love, the big L. We're talking about relationship. We're talking about friendship. We're talking about this feeling of social, right? You guys know me. We've been making content for 3 years, 11 months today. 3 years and 11 months. So next month is 4 years of making content, which I'm super grateful for, super happy for. Coolest thing that we did lately is it's so why are we making this video? First of all, lately I've been feeling the need to have talk with friends, to get more friends, to go out more, right? Lately I've been feeling a lot more to be social. I've been feeling a lot more to be, you know what, get out of my comfort zone, right? I've been feeling the needs to be romantic, the needs for a girlfriend, right? And it's a subject that we approached lately, you know, a little bit here and there. But today we're going to make a video especially for that. The sole purpose of this video is that. So, long story short, what ended up happening is that, how not to start a video, right? How not to start a video. Long story short, what ended up happening is, when I started making content, right? I've always recluse, right? Even as a kid, I was recluse. People would come to my house and say, hey, can Stefan play soccer? And I would say, no, I'm playing video games. Why? I think it's super simple as to why. I think I was taking medication for the ADHD, right? And this medication for the ADHD, I think, drove me to not be myself. And as a kid, you don't really understand a lot. But you understand that you're not being yourself. And your parents give you the medication. So you're like, no, they wouldn't do anything to me. So you start thinking that you're awkward around people and you prefer being alone, right? And then the relationship between your parents gets worse and worse and worse. And then the divorce, right? And then they were supposed to be together for life, right? But then they ended up hurting each other. It's like, okay, well, I'm good on my own. And then you live at your father's house and your father's very strict. So the longer you are not in his way, the better it is, right? So you become quite an hermit. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with doing that, right? But you realize that you don't really need friends. Now, technically speaking, the best thing about it is I was kind of raised being alone. My father, there was this year where him and my mom divorced, and my father was working a lot. My father was worried because my father is always worried about money. He's very stressed about money. My mom was stressed about everything. My father just money. And what he would do is he understood that my mom leaving equate to a salary less, right? So what he did was like, okay, well, I need to work more. So at a very, very young age, I was told, okay, well, you're alone now. You have to be alone. Okay, sorry. That's it. It's 15? 15, 14, perfect. This is it. This is it, guys. We're at 76. Good. Good. Cool. 36. So my father, when he was at work, a nanny was money. Money we didn't have. So even at a young age, my father was like, hey, you're gonna be alone. Now, being alone was the best. That I could watch TV, I could eat snack, something I wouldn't be able to do normally, right? So I actually prefer being alone. But this translated, I went to my mom's house, and my father-in-law was kind of loud, and my mom, she likes to go out. She really likes to go out. So every single weekend we would go to places meeting complete stranger. I was like, I don't know these people. I'm sure they're nice, but I don't know them. I think I don't need to know them, you know? So my entire childhood was spent alone. Then this translated in the later years. Now, of course, in high school, we're a bit more social, right? But in high school, we were a bit of a loser. As a teen, you start sweating, right? So you start sweating, and your parents, not to hurt your feelings, they don't tell you you stink. So you go to school and you stink, and people say, "Oh, this guy stink," but you don't believe them because you think your parents would tell you, right? So you're kind of being rejected because of that. And yes, you make some friends, but at the same time, they're not the best of friends because they're they're not the best of friends because they're willing to take you. So you're willing to take anybody. It's like a girl that never felt the love of a man, or a man that never felt the love of a girl. So they'll take the first they come and they'll think it's love, right? Because they don't know what it is, love. So we go in and we're like, okay, well, this is how it's gonna go, and this is my friendship. But because they're not real friend, I prefer being alone, right? Now we live at my father's house. We move from places to place, back from my mom's house, my father's house. But again, we're always alone. And then moved to the apartment, and the apartment was possibly the genesis of the end all be all. So the apartment, we didn't have parents next to us. We didn't have parents living next to us. So it was a case of I can do whatever the fuck I want. The best thing I ever did, and I told you this story before, but gaming, radio, eating whatever I want. But the best thing I would do is I would sleep for 2 or 3 hours, go back to gaming, sleep for 2 or 3 hours, go back to gaming, right? And there was nobody to stop me. So for the very first couple of years of being in an apartment, it was the best. But then with the apartment came a new reality. I had bills to pay, and those bills needed a job, right? Those places that needed a job, I was always either not working enough because I didn't have any social skill because I never learned them, and I wasn't the best employee because, well, I can't blame ADHD, but I was allowed. So being alone, I was able to be myself, right? And for me to be myself was, it doesn't matter how flawed I am, people should accept me. So we were going to job and people were like, dude, this guy is fucked, right? And I was like, no, I'm not fucked, I'm normal. Because somebody told me that I wasn't normal, right? So all of those workplace, all those friendship that we made, those relationship, were always current about the job. So for example, when I work at IG, I had IGA friend. When I work at AEW, I had AEW friends, right? We never kept those friends. And then, for the very first time, we had a job that I had, which was 8 years. Now, I had to make an extra effort because those people were going to be with me every single day. So like, okay, well, I have to make sure that we treat these people good, right? But ultimately speaking, it felt forced. Because I don't really like some of those people. But I have to work with them, so I'm going to make an effort. But when I'm out, fuck them, right? And then we lost that job. So I was like, okay, well, and we still kept in touch with some of those people, but most of them, no, you know? And then lately, and I haven't felt the need. For example, we lost that job in March last year. And the whole year last year was making content. And I gotta say, I'm sorry to say, but I was so obsessed. I would cancel meeting with my father, my mom. I was so obsessed. I wouldn't talk to people. People would text me and I would leave them on read, which was an asshole. I wouldn't answer a call, right? Which is a big deal. And it's a shame because I was so pissed at people for something as normal as, hey, can we DM? Because then no, if you want to talk to me, I'm live. Go talk to me when I'm live. Now, technically speaking, what I was, my thought process was, we're live 7 hours a day. 6 on Twitch and 1 on TikTok. So you should be able to talk to me, right? Oops. Thank God we checked. But I was forcing people to be talking to me when I want, not when they want or when they need. That wasn't a good thing to do. So then you had my depression, right? And the depression, I was like, well, fuck. This depression was also caused by burnout. So we took a step back from making content, right? And then I realized who the real friend were and who the fake friend were, right? But at the very end, I kept people around, you know? And we were talking to people and we took a really healthy approach to the depression. which was to take a break. And then right now we're starting, right? And the conversation that we have, and there's this truth of I don't need to be making that much content, right? I need to be making a community. I need to make new friends. I need to get out of being chronically online. I need to talk to people, right? And there's this new need that we never had before of socializing, right? Socializing, of making new friends, of talking to people. Why? Because we get to talk to people every single day. And it's doing something that I want, something that I love. So it's something very new for me, very, very new. And I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know how I'm dealing with it, to be quite honest. But it's a great feeling. And lately I've been feeling the need to socialize, right? We had this whole arc last year where we would go out just to film the nature. And now I like going out. And that wasn't the case before. Before I wouldn't touch grass to save the world. Now I want to touch grass just because I can. Right? Also the relationship feeling. I've had a girlfriend in January, right? And it didn't work. And I was like, and the difference, which is something that really, really happened, it was really, really weird, was I wasn't looking in January. I wasn't looking, it just happened, right? Now, without saying I'm looking, I'm more open to it. Because you know what? I'm like, okay, well, this wouldn't be bad. But I think that the thing that's happening here is, we're 32 years old. I think there's a, I was talking about this before. I don't know if this is a biological clock. I don't know if that's the issue. I don't know. What I do know is that there is definitely a need to say, hey, if I want to have kids, I should be starting to think about it, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm getting old. I'm getting older. Maybe there's also a fear of ending up alone. You know? Before we didn't care because we were gaming. And I'm realizing there's more to life than gaming, right? So it's very different. It's very special. So lately we've been feeling this need for socializing. It's a good need, you know? Because, like I said before today, it doesn't really matter why you're doing something. You're doing it, it does matter. Good intention, bad intention also matters, but the reason as to why you did something is not important. I did this because of that. No, it doesn't matter. You did this, right? And I don't know. I don't know why is the reason for that. It's a great thing. Socializing will never not be okay. Will never not be something positive, right? This need that I had, this new need that I didn't have before. You have a new need. You have a new problem that you need a solution for. It's kind of crazy because it shouldn't be okay, but it's a need that's going to be beneficial for us. And that's important. That's worth it. So yeah, it's a great feeling to want to be motivated to talk to people. You know, should have happened years ago, but hey, better late than never. Anyway, love you guys. Take it easy.